When you're at the edge, there's a sense of possibility and a rush of excitement. There's a compulsion to go further and push beyond. At the edge, we discover, find solutions, know our strengths as individuals, and understand the power of working with others. We feel the urgency to make an impact that's vital to people, places, and the planet. The edge is a mindset and an advantage. It's a physical place too, and ours is on a rugged coastline, on the tip of an island, within a circle, beside a magnificent continent, looking out to the world. It changes the way we see things, the way we think. Our edge drives our excellence in the health of the oceans, Indigenous knowledge, clean growth, and healthy communities. It's in the strength of our partnerships and within our community, rich with diverse perspectives. At the edge, students get hands-on and researchers get close up. Dynamic, research-inspired teaching and learning fuels personal growth and career success. Learning is personalized, and our campus just the right size, big enough to make a difference and small enough to care. Exciting things happen at the edge. It's where we lead and inspire change. It propels us to what's next. Our edge is ever evolving and far-reaching, and it's here with us in every place, in every moment. When you get to the edge, you know it. And when you get to know the University of Victoria, you'll feel it. The edge is here.
What's up, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to our Facebook Live session today. Here we're going to meet the students in the Faculty of Humanities, so without any further ado, let's meet them.
Hi, Facebook. My name is Jasmine. I'm originally from West Bank, BC, and I actually recently graduated with a major in history and a minor in French.
Hi, my name is Hanam. I'm in the Department of Philosophy. I'm in my third year, and I'm originally from Vancouver.
Hi, my name is Isabel. I'm originally from Calgary, Alberta, and I just finished my degree in Linguistics with a minor in Health and Society.
Hi, my name is Charlie. I'm a fourth-year student in the Greek and Roman Studies department, and I'm from Victoria, BC.
Hi, my name is Nate. I'm from the Comox Valley, a few hours north of here. I just finished my degree in history last April, and now I'm working on my graduate degree.
Hi, my name's Allie. I am originally from Orange County, California. I am in my third-ish year in English here at UVic.
Right on. So you've met the students, and thanks to everybody for tuning in today. We've got a lot of questions coming in already. I'm going to take a look and see what we've got. There are some pretty awesome ones here, folks, to start off, but I'm going to start off with one that seems kind of all-encompassing. It might be a big one, but first and foremost, who wants to handle what are the humanities?
I'll give it a go.
Oh, Jasmine.
Okay. This is a very broad question. To me, personally, disclaimer, all right? The humanities is everything that has to do with being a human and what it means to be a human in the world, in Victoria, and all of that jazz, which is a whole lot of stuff.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we got a couple others here. So we want to know what the atmosphere is like here in the Faculty of Humanities. Yeah. Anyone? Yeah?
Yeah, I really love the atmosphere in the faculty. I find that because we are able to share ideas and talk about so many different things, you get a lot of opinions and you get to know a lot of really interesting people. So it's really chill and you really can explore and learn things you wouldn't otherwise learn.
Right on, right on. That's pretty cool. But Allie, I'm going to ask you a question here real quick. Now, you said you transferred out of the sciences into humanities. Can you maybe describe the different atmosphere like? What was it like in sciences and then moving into humanities?
Yeah, for sure. So I switched over from the Faculty of Sciences pretty recently, actually. What drew me into humanities was I noticed that science was very factual, and I really just wanted to express my opinion and really learn things kind of that way rather than focusing on like numbers and this means this and that's like it, kind of a way of learning.
Beauty, beauty. That is a great reference. Thanks for that, Allie. Now we've got a question that maybe a few of you can answer here. Somebody wants to know, what's your favorite UVic memory to date? Got a couple.
I'll talk to that. So last year, I got something called a micro grant, which means I got a little bit of money from UVic, and I got to use that money to head up island to the Comox area, so like you said, a couple hours north of here, and talk to the Comox First Nation about language revitalization. So that was really related to my degree in linguistics, but I also got to reach out, learn something new, and I never would have been able to do this project if not for this micro grant from UVic. So thanks.
Cool, thanks. Now, Nathan, you spent a bit of time here. You finished your undergraduate. Now you're into a graduate degree. Can you maybe describe, why you stayed at UVic for your graduate degree, what you liked about UVic that kind of created a potential further future here for yourself?
Sure. So for me, in my undergraduate degree, I developed a really close relationship with a lot of the faculty members in the history department, and I'm now working with a lot of the same members that I worked with in my undergrad. My undergraduate honors supervisor, the supervisor for my undergraduate degree is now supervising my graduate work. And yeah, I've developed a lot of close relationships, and it's great.
Nice. You heard it here, folks. Relationships are key. All right. There, it's good. So we've got another one, and it's a pretty big one. So someone wants to know why they should consider studying humanities here at the university. And Hanam, I'm going to go to you for this one. Can you tell us why you picked humanities, and further to that, why you picked philosophy?
Picked philosophy basically because it allows you to be like a really big nerd about something. Like I find that with philosophy, it's like I can engage with like both really small problems, but really big problems as well, but in like a kind of like super nerdy, fine detailed way. So that's generally why I do it. And then the Department of Philosophy is pretty great at UVic as well, mostly because all of the professors are just kind of like willing to spend time with you, which is something that I feel like is like pretty essential if you want to do philosophy, at least at a higher level.
Nice. Right on. And Charlie, I'm going to go to you for the same question, because you've done quite a bit of work in the humanities. You're president of a course union. You've done some honors. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with humanities, why you considered studying it, and what's kind of kept you going?
Sure. So before I actually came to UVic, I considered pursuing a Bachelor of Fine Arts, but I decided to actually pursue a degree in the humanities because it gave me an option to explore a lot of different areas at one time. You can study a lot of different languages, which I really love, both ancient and modern. And I think my tendency to creative thought is really supported in the humanities. So yeah, that's why I chose.
Right on. I've got one here, and I kind of want to go all around with this one. I want to ask everybody here why you picked your area of study in the humanities. So you can describe what you're studying in the humanities and why you picked it. So we'll start on this end with Allie.
Well, I picked English because, like I said before, I was in sciences, but because I am also from the States, I had to take an English course, which is fine. I feel like English is very important, clearly. And I noticed that I really enjoyed the class. And so then the next semester, I volunteered to take another English course. And then it almost spiraled, if you will. And then I just kind of was drawn into English, and I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoy learning why language is the way that it is in English. Yeah.
So I'm in the history department because I love to learn why we're here and where we came from, and that's about as simple as it gets. I mean, the past is a foreign country in a lot of ways, and it's just so fun to explore it.
I chose Greek and Roman Studies because it is an interdisciplinary department. And so I not only study ancient history and archaeology, but I study ancient languages as well. And I think it is, it challenges me every day, but I love it.
So I chose linguistics because I had a future goal in mind, and that was to study speech and language disorders. I had a choice to either do psychology or linguistics as my major. I chose linguistics because I love languages. I am a huge word nerd, and I found that the size of our department really allowed me to get to know my professors and to work individually with them, and I feel like that really gave me a boost.
Yeah, as I said before, I think philosophy is great, mostly because it allows you to be a nerd. And I think of it more of as a tool as opposed to like a subject of study, as opposed to linguistics or history. It's more like a sort of method to sort of like help understand the world rather than like a specific set of things that you're studying, which is, I don't know, if you're into doing it in that way, it's really great.
Okay, save the best for last. I chose history simply because I had a fantastic high school history teacher. But I stayed with history because I found that through learning about the past, you really learn so much about your present. And it's kind of the idea of we can decide to change things going forward, but only if we know what's come before us. So it's been really great that way.
Right on, right on. So I'm a science student, so hearing about what is in the Faculty of Humanities is really eye-opening to me because we went everywhere from Greek and Roman studies to English to linguistics to philosophy. There's so much in this umbrella of humanities. So it's really quite interesting to see, and that all of you have taken a really unique role in your studies is really impressive as well. So kudos to you guys, because I don't think my science brain could handle what you guys are doing. So really, really exciting. Looks like a lot of writing, and that is not my forte, right? But we'll get to that a little bit later. I want to talk a little bit about co-op now, cooperative education. Has anyone here completed a co-op term? Yeah, Jasmine, cool. So Jasmine, I'm going to field you with this one. If you can describe what co-op is, how you got involved with co-op, what you gained out of co-op, and of course, what your co-op was. I know a lot at you, okay? Go.
Okay. I might need you to repeat some of those, Kevin. Alrighty, co-op. What is it, first and foremost? So co-op is paid work experience in your field, so in your field of study. I started co-op in my second year of history, and my minor is actually French. I meant to do a little shout out to the French department in that last question, and I forgot. So my first co-op placement was at a historic site in Alberta. So I have never lived in Alberta before, but you can get co-op placements all over Canada and actually all over the world. I know a lot of people that have gone international with it. And basically what I was a bilingual historic interpreter. So I worked at their oldest site and did tours in English and French and got to practice my French, which was great because it was still really hard back then, and learn a little bit more about local history, which was great. Were there more questions, Kevin?
What was your placement? Did you already do?
Sure, yes, at the historic site, but I actually did another one at UVic. So there are a lot of co-op placements on campus. And after I graduated, I actually got a job right away with that exact same office that I worked at for co-op, which was quite lovely to not have to worry about it and have that avenue.
And the benefits of co-op?
There's so many. Okay. You can get a job right after you graduate, as I just said. But really, it's a great way to get skills in your field and find out if that field is right for you or not. I also have friends that did co-op and went and did a placement and actually decided, this is actually not for me, which they wouldn't have had an opportunity to do without co-op. So I think that's pretty important. And it's fun.
Right on. Thank you for that. Okay, so we've got a bigger one here. So I'm just going to read it off my phone. But this student is asking that they've heard that there is a humanities living learning community here in UVic residence. And so tell us a little bit about what that is. What is a living learning community? And why should they think about applying to the humanities live learning community here at residence? So I know we've had a couple people live on res here. Allie, have you lived in residence? I did. Yeah, nice. Have you learned about live learning communities? No. Okay, that's A-okay. A-okay, my job. Isabel, let's field it to you.
Totally. So, first of all, living in residence is amazing. I'm sure we're going to talk about that more as we go along. Think of a living and learning community kind of like a themed floor within residence. So everyone who lives on that floor shares an interest. The Humanities living and learning community is full of humanities students. So you've got built-in study buddies. You've got some friends who have similar interests to you. Maybe you share opinions, maybe you don't, but you've definitely got the atmosphere to not only learn something new, but to have a great time. For me, when I was living in residence, there were a lot of people on my floor who, it was like they were living on a different planet from me. We did not share interests at all, but the few people I found who we had a similar interest, that is how I made friends. That's how I met my best friend, just because we lived across the hall from each other and shared an interest. So living and learning communities, especially in humanities, you're going to meet amazing people. You're going to have study buddies, and you're going to learn something new. It's awesome.
Right on, right on. And earlier I did forget to mention regarding our co-op that UVic placed 119 students in co-op jobs through the Humanities as of last year, which is massive. So if you are looking for a job, there's definitely something out there for you. So definitely check out co-op. And thank you for answering our questions about UVic residents and living learn communities. Here's a cool one. Okay, so this student said that they read on the website that there are a lot of field school opportunities in the humanities. So can you tell us a little bit about what a field school is, when you do field schools, and what the field school opportunities at UVic are? Has anyone here done a field school? Yeah, Charlie, right on.
So for the Greek and Roman Studies department, our field schools are based in archaeology. And so our department offers one in Greece and one in Rome and Spain right now. And I've participated in the one in Greece. So in my first year, I got to excavate every day, and now I work as a ceramic analyst. So I look at all of the pottery that comes out of the ground every day. And it's great because you can study as much as you want out of a book, but it becomes so much more real when you can go and learn about what you're actually learning about in your own hand. And I know that other departments have different kinds of field schools. I think perhaps you have experience with one of them?
So I sort of do. I have secondhand experience. So field school, basically, it just means that you're going somewhere else to study for a short period of time. So one of my very good friends actually did a field school called the Eyewitness Holocaust Field School, where they go to Europe. It's a small group of students, and they go to Europe, and I believe that they actually tour different concentration camps, different historical sites, and there's still research involved and papers and things like that, but I know that it was very impactful to actually be on the ground learning about those things, and I think that's probably the benefit of field schools, hey, like you were saying. Yeah.
I just want to add one quick thing, which is field schools are often a shorter amount of time than a typical semester. And you get, depending on the class, you can get full credit for it. So between, 3 and maybe 6 weeks worth of work, you're getting full credit for that course, and you're traveling somewhere really cool.
Thank you, right on. So it seems like there's a lot of opportunity for travel while they're in school and getting to learn, as Charlie mentioned, putting the skills you've learned in the classroom to test in the field, hence field school. So pretty cool. I'm sure that you really had an amazing time testing all that pottery and looking at it in real life as opposed to reading about it in books. So that's super cool. And then the Eyewitness Holocaust, that sounds amazing. So who would want to go to Europe and look at the history, right? So super duper. Thanks for feeling that. So we learned a lot about co-op, getting work placements, and now we've learned about field school, so getting credit for school. So there's a little bit of a difference there, but you do get opportunity to use the knowledge you've learned in school in the workplace, which is pretty neat, eh?
Yeah.
Awesome, right on. So there is a quick little tidbit here. So if you did want information on field schools, you can head to the UVic Humanities website, and there's a lot of information there about potential areas of opportunity for travel and field school. All right. So this was a beautiful segue. Thank you to this student here. Speaking of travel, what exchange opportunities does Humanities offer, and how does exchange work? Has anyone here done an exchange?
I have not done a Formal exchange.
Okay, well let's do this. This sounds like you have some experience.
So I have not been a part of the formal exchange program at UVic, but my department offers what we call a study abroad program. And so a small group of 10 students in my case traveled to Greece, and we lived in Athens for a few months, and we go to sites every day. We do seminars in the afternoon, and I got a full semester's worth of credit for being over there. I completed 5 classes worth of work, which is really great. And it's classes that you would have to take during your degree anyway, so it's a great way to do it abroad and see things in person. And then the last month, we got to travel around Greece and go to different sites and museums every day, and it makes it a lot more real, especially in the Greek and Roman Studies department. So, yeah.
Right on, right on. Okay, here's a big one. I think everyone's always so scared about what these mysterious figures are like, but can someone tell me a little bit about what the professors at UVic are like?
Yeah, I can speak to that. I'm working one-on-one with one of my professors right now doing a research project. So I've gotten to know her really, really well. Shout out to Dr. Martha McGinnis. I find professors in humanities to be approachable. They all have something called office hours. So they will let you know when their office door is open, and you can go and chat with your professors. Talk to them about what you're having trouble with, or if you found something really interesting in a lecture and you want to talk a little bit more about it. For me, one of my favorite things about this department is as you go up in years, so into your 3rd and 4th year, your class size shrinks. And that means you get to know your professors really, 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 really well. Allie is nodding really hard at me right now. But I think that all of us as humanities students have taken advantage of office hours frequently and have had that opportunity to get to know our professors. And I have really good news for you guys. Professors are people too, and they are awesome.
Right on. A question for Nathan here. So Nathan, earlier you mentioned relationships. So how did you find building relationships with your professors in your undergraduate came into play in your favor when you were applying to graduate schools or trying for graduate research here at the university?
So I actually ended up doing some research work with one of my undergraduate professors. Right after I finished graduation, I got the chance to go to Ottawa and do research in the National Archives there for one of my professors, which was such an amazing opportunity. I got to develop a really personal rapport with her. Dr. Penny Bryden, you're great. Thank you for the chance. And yeah, now I'm working with her in grad school, and I'm pursuing topics that I love, and it's just incredible. Yeah.
Right on. So thanks. So it seems like the professors really elevated your experience in education here in academics. So not only that, but the passion that you guys kind of originated with has been kind of exponential. So that's really cool. Awesome. Right on. Okay, here. So this is a question for, I think, a lot of people out there right now. So we can all flash back to our first year, okay? And now tell me what it was like as a first year's humanities student. What was that journey and that experience? So let's go to each person. How about that? Because I think everyone's stories are so unique. So let's start with Jasmine.
Okay. Okay. So coming into the humanities, it's a big learning curve coming to university in general. I found one of my struggles, I signed up for an upper level course in my first semester at 8:30 a.m. on a topic I wasn't super keen on. So I learned really quickly that that's not a great move. But in humanities in general, I felt very supported. A lot of the first year courses are survey courses, or they kind of touch on a little bit of a bunch of broad topics, which gives you a really great opportunity to figure out what you're actually interested in. And as you move up through the years, you can specialize in different things and kind of focus your work that way. But I just love the humanities, and I love the people, and I'm sure that's what everyone's going to say, but I said it first.
So I'm a transfer student from a local college called Camosun College. So I'll talk about my first year at UVic, if that's cool. It was pretty fantastic, but like, it's really so much of a different experience than high school. High school for me was like pretty challenging in a lot of ways, mostly because I didn't feel like I didn't get into the material enough. University like really allows you the opportunity, if you want to like really dive in to like whatever extent you want. And having that opportunity and learning things at a much higher level is something that I think is really fantastic. You just kind of have to be ready to actually decide to do it all.
Yeah, I came into university undeclared, which means I had no idea what I wanted to study. It took me a little while to figure it out. And the way that I did figure that out was by taking lots of different courses in lots of different areas. And Humanities allowed me to do that. I could take an English course, I could take a history course, I could take a German class. Don't know why I did that. I guess I thought it was fun, and it was. So by exploring a little bit and seeing what this university had to offer, I was really able to focus and find something that I really, really loved. So if you don't know what you're doing yet, that's okay.
I can take that one step further. I was also undeclared, and I took a bunch of science classes as well as humanities classes. So I took an Earth and Ocean Science class, I took a biology course, and they were great. But I got my first midterm back in just the survey Introduction to Greek and Roman Studies, and it was the highest mark I've ever gotten because I loved it so much. And studying for that class wasn't really studying. You know, I did extra readings for the class every week, and it felt right. And I think a lot of the humanities departments provide that for a lot of students. So
Yeah, I think I'll echo a lot of the other sentiments here. The best thing about first year in humanities is that you get to try out all sorts of different things and really discover what you love. You get to see all these different sort of tools for understanding the world around you and learn about other places, other times. It's just a great time to learn what you like and learn what you don't like, and then dive into what you love. So, yeah.
So similar to what like everyone has said at this point, especially Charlie, I was actually undeclared in the sciences, like I had mentioned previously, and I realized throughout my first year, I would say, I kept on leaning more and more towards English and humanities classes. Then I kind of realized I should just switch over and then just take those because I enjoy them so much. And I think because of the allowance of kind of figuring out what you want to do really helps, and it really just kind of helps you figure out almost who you are as a person, I feel, in addition to what you really want to study.
Groovy, thank you. So it seems like there was a world of difference there. And the cool thing is that the majority of this room, you're not actually from the immediate Victoria area, which is cool. So your first year already adapting humanities and then coming away from home to live in a new community. Lots of adaptations there, but it seems like everyone's really progressed and kind of aspired to be their ultimate dreams and their goals, which is what we're doing right now, which is awesome. Speaking of dreams and goals, I've got amazing segues. I'm loving this. And the questions that are coming in are great. We've got some truth tea right now from a student out there, and their parents want them to become a doctor, but they love writing and English. So how can a humanities program help them with your future goals? And the student is still unsure about what their future goals are right now. So I know a couple students here have kind of progressed beyond the undergraduate. So Nathan, I know you said you wrote your LSAT right now. Can you tell me a little bit about what the LSATs were, why you decided to pursue that option, and what your goals are there? Because obviously there are a bunch of those bigger career options out there, but why are you pursuing potentially a lawyer?
So basically the LSAT is the law school admissions test, and I found that humanities really prepared me for the sort of critical thinking and critical reading skills that I needed to do well in the LSAT. I tried it once and I did really well in it. It's a really great professional sort of path for humanities students to take, and ultimately I chose not to take it because I found something that I loved in the humanities, and that's why I'm still here doing grad school. So, yeah.
Right on. And Charlie, you mentioned earlier that your passion in writing here really helps you excel on the GRE. Can you tell me what the GRE is and how the humanities and the writing and the skills you've possessed in your degree helped you achieve on that GRE?
Sure. So the GRE is a graduate records examination, and it is like the SATs, but for grad school. So it's a standardized test that you have to write so that you can apply to a lot of American grad schools. And a big portion of that is that you have to do an analytical writing section. And I know as a humanities student, I felt that I had to study for it, but my natural skill was there, and I found that the skills that they were asking me to prove are skills that I use every day in the department. And so I felt very comfortable writing the test, and I think that helped me excel on the test a lot more than perhaps other things did. So.
Right on. And I think a lot of people think that once they study a degree, you're kind of stuck within that degree and that your potential job is going to be somewhere there. But actually, as many of you can attest to, you can finish a degree and then apply to, for example, the medical school here with the correct prerequisites. But I just want to talk a little bit about Alumni Life with Jasmine and Isabel here. So you did your degrees, and how has it been with life after your degree? What are you pursuing? What are the jobs like? What's that life? So we'll start with Jasmine.
Okay, so it's still a big transition leaving UVic just as much as it is coming to UVic. The way that you get comfortable in high school, you get comfortable at university. So it's been really interesting. Kind of the bigger questions of what do I do with my life now? But I was actually fortunate enough, I think I mentioned, to go straight into a job with somewhere that I worked as a co-op. So I actually work in the higher education industry now in student affairs. And I have what I've been calling an adult job, salaried and everything. So that's really great. And I've still felt really connected to the UVic community. It probably helps that I still come here every day. One day I will leave, but I'm in absolutely no rush to do so. Even not being a student here, there's community, there's events, there's basically everything that I need. So not getting rid of me.
So for me, I may have graduated and finished my degree, but I'm not done taking classes here. I am currently taking classes as a non-degree student. So I want to get into graduate school, and I found I didn't quite have everything I needed to get in. So I am just keeping on and doing more classes, and UVic is helping me do that.
Right on, thank you. So it seems like the job opportunities are endless through field school, through co-op, through relationships. And it seems like even though you're studying humanities, I think the common misconception is that you might get stuck, but it seems like nobody here is stuck and you're still branching out to get to those ultimate dreams and aspirations, which is awesome. So cool hearing about that. We are going to take a little bit of a break now, so we're going to rest a little bit. But for everybody out there, we have a short video for you to take a look at. So take a peek. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
The Faculty of Humanities of Victoria contains many departments, many different programs, some of which are focused on single disciplines, some focused on interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary. So there are all kinds of possibilities to construct new kinds of knowledge.
There's a lot of people that have scientific backgrounds or historical backgrounds. It really brings a mosaic of attitudes and cultures to the learning environment, which I really enjoy.
I've learned a lot by studying one culture, and in studying one culture, I've learned a lot about myself.
They really encourage that you find something that you're interested in and you keep going with that. And I love that part of humanities.
I had the opportunity to work with a digital humanities research project. This research project was the Internet Shakespeare editions. With that, I had the opportunity to bring what I was learning in literature into a real-world situation.
You can kind of pick and choose what you're doing, and they give you kind of an academic freedom to explore a lot of different options. I had the opportunity to do the Eyewitness Field School, which allowed me to travel through Central Europe, which really allowed me to focus on these different narratives and study abroad, which is an opportunity unlike anything I have within the classroom.
It helps you not just understand the world you're living in, but it helps you understand you as living in this world.
It's given me the ability to do things like support people who are going through self-harm and suicide. It's helped me do community outreach work, taking theory and skills from the classroom to that practical work.
A lot of the classes you are actually doing the tasks that you would do in the workplace. So while I was learning, I was able to actually take these projects and put them on my resume as something that I had done.
I think a lot of classes in humanities really complement each other. So you will be studying Spanish literature, or you'll be studying poetry, and then you'll take a gender studies class, and everything will sort of become more cohesive.
We search for answers to the great questions in the linguistic, cultural, and historical diversity of the world. And then we focus in on what this might mean for you, for your engagement with society, for your life.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We are still here, so don't worry. Are you guys there, though? Because we want to hear what questions you have, so keep asking them. There's a ton of good stuff coming out. You've got a breadth of experience here on this panel. So yeah, ask us questions. Tell us where you're from. Tell us about yourself, your nervous fears, your anxieties, your excitements. We want to hear them all because, trust us, we've been there, all right? So we've got it all. We do have something here. So someone is a little bit nervous, looks like, and they're wondering about the writing in humanities. They're wondering, how much writing is it, and overall, what the workload looks like. I'm going to go to Hanam for this question, because you're in philosophy, and I feel like that is a little bit of reading and writing, probably just a bit. So tell me a little bit about your experience with that and how much work you're actually doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've mentioned earlier, I think a lot of philosophy is very self-directed. So the amount of writing and the amount of reading, you can always read more, as Charlie was saying. If you just want to kind of finish your schoolwork, do extracurriculars or whatever, the writing load isn't that much. But one of the things that I really like about the humanities is you can just deep dive into whatever you're writing about. And philosophy in particular is really, it's kind of boring to read sometimes, but it teaches you to be an excellently precise writer in everything you do. So I really like it, obviously. But I also think it's really useful in terms of, obviously, a lot of philosophy majors become lawyers. So it's a natural progression. Yeah.
Can I just add something real quick here? So we like to joke that linguistics is kind of the most science-y department in humanities because we do have a lot of work that is based on the scientific method. So although there's a lot of writing, not everyone who comes in is a natural writer, and that's okay because the Center for Academic Communication in the library can help you write your essays and help you become an amazing essay writer. So even if you don't start out as like Hanam, who just loves writing essays by the sound of it, we have the tools here that'll help you and get you to where you need to be. So that's awesome.
Can I talk on that point?
Yeah.
I was actually a terrible essay writer. I was the worst. And it's only through philosophy, any of the departments that we're in, any of the things we study. It's a skill, basically, that you have to work on. And I was terrible at writing essays in high school and in my first year of philosophy, but philosophy just basically teaches you how to write, as a lot of other humanities departments do. Yeah.
Right on. So it seems like with the increasing workload, you were adapting to it and you were getting better with it. So it didn't seem like you were getting more work, but you were just getting better at handling the work. Yeah. So, which is always great, which is always awesome. Jasmine, do you want to add? Yeah, totally.
I was actually just talking to someone about this. They asked if it gets easier to be a student the higher up you get in your degree. And I think talking about what you were talking about, Hanam and Isabel, is that it doesn't get easier, your work doesn't get easier, but you get better at being a student. Because in your first year, you don't know when to study, what to study, that kind of stuff. But you learn that. And then you don't have to try so hard on just being a student. You can focus on your work. And I'm sure Nathan also in history can speak to the essays, but they start off small and they get bigger, right? But at that point, you know what you're doing. It's not overwhelming. You've done the little ones, you're working your way up. Yeah, I just thought that was very relevant.
Super duper relevant. And now, Allie, I'm going to go to you for a quick question because you're unique in your chance because you did switch from faculties. So you went from science to humanities. Can you tell us a little bit about the workload for any of our viewers out there who might be wondering about the two different faculties and whether it's easier or harder or what the justification is for picking, between different faculties out there?
Yeah, so I feel like the actual amount of work that you have to do is, from my own experience, is the same, right? So you have to spend the same amount of time studying for, regardless of what class it is. I am just really terrible at math. and science. And so I don't know what I was thinking personally when I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. And then I was like, I like English a lot better. And so kind of like what they said, it's you adapt, you get better at like what you're doing the more you work at it. I can say my roommate is still in the Faculty of Science. She is getting her biology degree, and we work the same amount of time on things. She is just looking at charts and at fish half the time, and I am reading Shakespeare and writing essays, and so it really just depends on what you're interested in and what you want to kind of go for.
Perfect. That was a unique perspective, so thank you for that. And now we are looking at speaking a little bit about first year and what the classes are like. Can you describe to me what your first year classes were and how they differed from high school?
Yeah, I can start us out. So for me, I went to a pretty big high school, and by big, I mean we had about 40 students in each class. But when I stepped into my very first lecture at UVic and there were 200 people in the room, that redefined what a big class was for me. So that was the first thing is, first year classes can be big, but the good news is labs and tutorials. So you might have a lecture with 200 people, but then you have a smaller section where maybe 30 or 40 of those students get together and you get a little more hands-on experience with the material. And that still happens in humanities. We do it all the time. So even though the classes felt really big to me, once we got to the labs and tutorials, I felt right at home. Anyone else want to chime in? Allie.
So all of the English classes that I'm taking are typically like 40-ish people, which is really nice, and you feel pretty close, and like you almost feel like you have to pay more attention because like the prof's focus is on you. But I'm also taking Spanish classes. I don't think I mentioned that. And in my Spanish class, there's probably 15 people. So if you're not paying attention, it is very obvious that you're not paying attention. And I really need that, and I need to be forced to focus, and so I feel like that really helps me in like the smaller class sizes. Even in my first year, I noticed, depending on the class, obviously, that no matter what, you will get the attention. Like we said previously, like office hours really, really help, and like going to your prof and being like, hey, I don't completely understand this topic. They are so helpful. And I don't think we mentioned this, but we have TAs, and they are also helpful. A TA is a teacher's assistant, which is basically they help the prof teach you, and they are usually, I believe, graduate or like upper level students, and so they get it. They were just in your shoes, whereas sometimes the prof may not necessarily understand why you don't understand this topic because they have spent their whole life studying this topic. The TA will definitely help.
I can actually...
Yeah.
So I'm actually a TA. We're just people too. My favorite thing is when the undergrad students come to me and they have questions and they're interested in their topics. We're all really engaged in the things that we teach, and we just want to help you learn as well. So being a TA is a really great privilege because I get to work with first and second year students a lot.
More to the first question, how it was different from high school. The nicest thing is that you get to choose your classes, all of them, and you may have breadth requirements in your degree, but you get to choose how you fill those, and it makes a huge difference because in high school, I was a big theater kid, and so I didn't necessarily want to be doing my math homework every day. And there's a reason for that because I'm not meant to do math my whole life. And so it was nice when I got to university. I still took some science classes to see if I would like it, but I could take an Earth and Ocean Sciences class. And you don't always have the opportunity in high school to take classes like that. So.
Another thing that I really like about university classes is the length. So it's been a while since I was in high school, but I think you're there all day, most of the day, yes. But university classes, they can be 50 minutes, an hour and a half-ish. There's special ones that can be 3 hours, but you'd have them at different times during the week. And as Charlie was saying, you get to pick them all, so you can make your entire schedule. I've had friends that have had both Monday and Friday off and just had a heavy Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you live on res, you can go have a nap in between classes. Like, your day is totally customizable, which I just think is really neat and a fun part of university that you get to control, be a little bit more independent.
Yeah.
Adding on that, it gives you time during the day to get your work done. And if you figure out good time management skills, like because I am an honors student, and so I am doing an extra research project at the end of my degree, I am in less actual class time, and so I use my days to get my work done so that I can do co-curriculars or work on my independent research projects in the evening. And that is really nice, because I know in high school it can be really hard because you're in class all day and then you have to go home and do all your work for the next day. But you can work around that so that you can customize your life around it. Yeah.
Right on. So it seems like what I'm getting here is that there's a lot of flexibility in university that we didn't have in high school. So getting to sleep in the mornings if you don't want any morning classes, or packing in the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and getting long weekends every week, right? So it seems like there's a lot of flexibility and fun. So it seems like almost like a preference for a lot of us now that we've kind of grown into, which is cool. I do want to kind of field one more question here. But before I get there, I also want to hear where a lot of the viewers are from. We haven't heard too much from a lot of them. So tell us your names, where you're from. We want to give you some shout outs here. So if you are listening and you're viewing, just give us a quick little message and we'll definitely shout it out. But we did have Isabel mention earlier about help with your essays. And I want just to field this question one more time about what extra offerings there are for extra academic assistance in your faculty. Maybe not even just the faculty, but overall through university. So Charlie, can you field this one?
Sure. Well, I guess as I've said, my department does a lot of ancient languages, and so there's actually a lot of student support in my department when it comes to that. So I run what we call the epigraphy club in our department. That just means that I help other people read ancient inscriptions, even if they don't know the languages or they're in the first years of the ancient languages. So ancient Greek and Latin are what I focus on. And it's really, really nice because student support, I think, is one of the biggest things in the humanities, because generally speaking, small classes allow a very close connection between the students. And I think that is really important because you get to learn a lot from your fellow students, whether they're in their last year of their degree or their first year of the degree. I think it's really important that they work together. So, yeah.
Go for it, yeah.
So when I was working on my undergraduate degree, I was a member of what was called the History Undergraduate Society, or Thugs. And so the role of Thugs is to literally just help anybody. You can walk in. We have like sessions a couple times a week. And anybody can walk in. We'll help you with your papers, help you with your research, help you with figuring out how to do citations. All the little things that you feel uncomfortable asking your professor about, you can come and talk to peers about those problems. So there's tons of support, I'm sure, in all the departments that's similar to that.
Add on to this if you don't mind. So not only was I a member of the Underlings, who I think have the best club name on this campus, but we offered peer support as well, but I also used a lot of resources in the library. So I talked about the Center for Academic Communication. Drop-in math and stats help saved my life, guys. I am not kidding. Talking to someone who could walk me through citation help. And every department gets a librarian who can actually chat with you about how to find resources. So the peer support is amazing and definitely a go-to, but don't forget about the library. There is so much amazing help out there. And of course, our lovely TAs. We can never forget about TAs.
Nice. In case you missed it, the underlings are the undergraduate linguistics students. All right. So society. So there it is. So we did mention a little bit about getting that peer support and that help. And Jasmine, you mentioned about having a co-op placement in the city. How did you find that the city of Victoria actually helped your education overall as well? Because there are a lot of historical areas across Victoria. And from what I'm gathering, a lot of you have spent some time in the city studying or visiting some of these sites or working for them. So can anyone kind of field how they are reaching not just beyond, not within the walls of the university, but beyond the walls to adapt and overcome their education?
Sure. So for my entire undergraduate degree, I actually lived off campus. Victoria is a student city. The buses are great. You can live almost anywhere and still get to campus. But beyond that, I actually have done primary source research in Victoria. I've gone to the archives in town. There's a really nice museum. So like Victoria is just a great city to be a student in.
Yeah.
Just to punch that point home, because we're in Victoria, the capital of British Columbia, the Provincial Archives are here. So for history majors, that's amazing. You can actually go and get your hands on primary sources. Your hands on primary sources. Like, where else can you do that? That's all I have to say. Victoria's good.
Yeah, no, super cool. So I think just kind of living in Victoria, it's kind of given you all a neat advantage into studying the humanities because we are such a historical city. We've got tons of historical sites. So a lot of you have got your hands on, as Jasmine mentioned, the historical aspects, you know, so that's really, really neat. And as Nathan mentioned, we are a student city. So the support out there for the students is unimaginable. It's very widely appreciated. I do want to get a little bit into some research questions now here. So Charlie, you mentioned that you're doing a bit of research with your program. Can you tell me a little bit about what research you're doing? And also you did mention JCURA. If you can tell me a little bit about that as well and how that's also filling in your undergraduate degree and your education.
Okay. So first off, last year in my third year, I got to do what's called a Jamie Castles Undergraduate Research Award. And it's an award given to undergraduates doing independent research projects. Sometimes it will be to support an honors thesis in someone's last year, and you get money for it to put towards your tuition, which is great. It's a nice reward for working hard. And so I actually worked on ancient coin legends, which is a very niche topic, I know, but it's really nice because what you do is you work one-on-one with a prof normally because you're doing an independent project, and you work towards the JCURA Fair in March normally. And you put together a poster about your research. And the best part is that it's not just a humanities award, it's given across disciplines in UVic. And so it's really neat on the day to stand next to everyone and look at everyone's posters, take time and see what other undergraduates are doing for their research. And for me, it has been an amazing experience because now I'm in my fourth year, I'm doing my honors thesis, and I am doing a different independent research project actually on unpublished material from the archaeological site that I now work on. And so having already been through the experience of writing a paper longer than 10 pages, because for me, I also wrote a paper to go along with it from my professor, has helped me a lot. And I will be entering a master's program next fall, and I'm already creating my research proposal for that so that I can get funding. And because I've had a great amount of research opportunity in my undergrad, I feel prepared to do that. And so it's not a scary process. And it's been great.
Nice.
I can elaborate a little bit more on a different way to do research in our faculty. I did something called directed studies, which basically means I was in a class all by myself. I got to work one-on-one with a professor and really do a research project with that professor. So it was really neat to get to see what they were doing research on and to contribute to that and work towards a paper that will be published in a journal with my name on it, which is crazy. So the opportunities from the JCURA to honors to directed studies and even classes where you could do independent research, they are endless in this faculty.
Nice. And so for the viewers at home, I don't know if you can feel it, but the passion just radiating from these two that I can just feel as they're describing their research and their education is pretty immense. And I don't think that was originally what you came out to get, but it was something that was kind of adapted as you continued on your education. So pretty cool that you guys started with a first-year humanities course and now you're developed into all these other areas and facets of your degree, which is fantastic. I'm going to go to a question for everybody here now. We're going to go on a lighter side of things. We've heard a bit about your academics and your studying and your research, but we like to have fun too, right? Like we've got some stuff on the side. So if anyone can go around and just tell me, what do you do on the side that makes your life a little bit more fun at UVic? Any extracurriculars, clubs, all that cool stuff. So we'll start with Jasmine.
Thank you. Cool. So in my undergrad, I actually got involved, I'm looking at nobody. In my first year, there was actually a dog going by in the window, so that's what I was looking at. In my first year with a student club, so it was called Students for Literacy, shout out. And I got involved and actually became one of the co-coordinators for that club. So it's working with youth in the community, kept me very busy on the weekends. And I recently got into playing squash. Here at UVic, Kartha, our new gym facility built in 2015, it's actually the Center for Athletics.
Special abilities.
Hey, again?
Athletics, recreation, and special abilities.
Bam! UVic tour guide, nailing it. But they have amazing squash courts, and some of my friends got me into doing that, so that's how I'm spending a lot of my time these days. But clubs and course unions were huge for me when I was here as an undergrad.
I also spend a lot of time at Kartha. I play pickup basketball there. It's really fun. You can always find a game. I also spend a lot of time in the library, and they have an amazing piano there that I probably spend way too much time when I should be writing papers. But it's just like there's always an opportunity to do something on campus, and you can find your niche and kind of roll with it.
Yeah. I mean, with over 200 clubs to choose from, how could you not have fun with it, right? I also joined a lot of clubs, but these guys have talked about that. So outside of clubs, I love to go hiking. I'm from Calgary, where it gets pretty cold. So the fact that the weather here is amazing year-round means that I can be outside year-round. And I love that. So as much time as I get to spend outside, it makes me so happy. So hiking with friends, cycling with friends, even just going for a walk and meeting all the dogs that are on campus makes me super happy.
One of the co-curricular activities that I participate in, it's still connected with my department because pretty much everything I do is with my department. But our department has a program where some of us students and one of my professors, Dr. Gregory Rowe, who is wonderful, we actually teach high school students in Victoria Latin for free every Wednesday night. And it's really nice because in Greek and Roman studies, teaching experience is really important. Because I would love to be a professor one day. And it's really nice to work with young students and try to reach out because you can't often take Latin classes in high school. And I think it's really neat. And a lot of them are quite passionate about it, and it's really fun.
So one of my favorite extracurricular activities is to play intramural sports. I play indoor and outdoor soccer multiple times a week. The leagues are really competitive. There's plenty of teams. There's even a team for people who don't have teams. Like you literally, and it's not just soccer. There's all kinds of intramural sports. There's indoor hockey and there's basketball. There's always there's ultimate frisbee even, like tons of sports to play. I know that Kartha also has a climbing gym that's really popular, and Kartha as a facility is like state of the art. It's so nice. There's running trails on campus. I already mentioned that there's lots of buses to campus, but that means there's also lots of buses off campus, so it's really easy to explore the city. Yeah, there's tons to do.
So I'm going to talk about two things. The first thing is I'm like a huge foodie. Like it's insane, and they have so many good places to eat. Like campus food is surprisingly good. I know campus food gets a lot of bad rep, but like campus food is surprisingly good, and they even have like a strictly like vegetarian vegan place, which I think is like I'm not vegetarian or vegan, but I think it's really cool. And off campus, like Victoria has such a really cool food scene. Like it's like almost indie, like kind of hippie vibes, but it's it's amazing, and I am like still finding places to eat. The other thing that I'm going to talk about is I am heavily involved in this thing on campus called Vikes Nation. Vikes Nation is pretty much the hype squad on campus. I think that's the best way to put it. We go out there, we throw t-shirts at basketball games. We do a lot of really cool student events that are like free for students. I'm currently in the midst of planning our yoga rave this year, and like, I know what you're thinking, like, yoga rave, that sounds like pretty amazing. And it is, I promise. We basically turn off all the lights, turn on a bunch of black lights, and we do yoga. We're actually like switching it up a little bit this year, so I'm not going to give too many details, but we do yoga for a while, and we've got like a live DJ, and it's super colorful and it's super fun. And it has completely changed my view on university. Being from the States, I didn't know how I was going to feel because I thought that aspect of my life was kind of going to be missing, but it's not. And it's really great that I found something like that here.
Right on. Thank you. So it seems like there's a lot of stuff to do on campus aside from activities. And I feel like as students, it also gives us a chance to escape from our studies for a little bit as well. And that's so important, I feel, to have that mental break in intramural sports or Vikes Nation or for president of course unions and all that good stuff. We're just going to finish off here. But for everybody, I'd like to hear a sentence, maybe one word, a couple words. I want you to finish off this. My UVic is.
My UVic is home.
Wow. My UVic is the future.
My UVic is supportive.
My UVic is exciting.
My UVic is passion.
My UVic is heckin' fun.
Nice. You guys got so deep there. So fun, but that was really cool. We are wrapping up for today, unfortunately, but if you do have more questions, please go online and answer them. We will be answering things for up to 48 hours, so give us that time too. But anything after that is A-okay as well. We'll definitely answer any questions you have on the My First Year at UVic Facebook page. But I want to thank you, all of you, for being an excellent panel. There was so much knowledge here, and I feel like I've learned so much, and I've been here for 5 years. So that is crazy. Everybody out there is really lucky to have you folks as their panel. Again, thank you. And thank you folks for viewing in. That is us. We are out. If you have more questions, ask us, but have a great night.